I'm interested to see what the Minister of National Security is going to say in terms of the effectiveness of the SOE so far. My position is that $60 billion later, and we had to go back to the drawing board with a state of emergency. It really shows the failure of the state in terms of managing the air, sea, land, ground issues around national security in 10 years. So now in the 11th hour, you brought this SOE to try and reel back things. However, I did make a commitment during the budget debate last year that I would support any legislation that comes before the parliament that would save lives. So if the Minister of National Security can come and convince me today that he moved guns, arms, ammunition off the street, I think everyone will save a life.
And of course, as it relates to the inbuilt regulation, as it relates to the gun amnesty, what is your position?
Well, there was no legislation that came to deal with that because that would need special legislation for the amnesty. But I think having a gun amnesty now, we're really, I mean, as we say when I play all the cup, I mean, we are going after the gangs, we're going after the criminals, go after the guns. And if you get the guns and you can tie it into murders in this country, take them to jail. So I mean, whether the state wants to pursue a gun amnesty, that'll be for them. But I think they need to go after the criminal element in this country.
The second motion is the real crux of the matter this afternoon, where the government is coming to ask for a further 3-month extension. And we have some issues. This is a government who has been for the last 9 years against calling a state of emergency, even though the leader of the opposition, Mrs. Prasad, Cesar, has called for that to help alleviate or help in the issue of the crime and the murder rate that has been happening in this country under this present government for the last 9 years. As far back as January 2024, she made that call again to get some relief and to work with the government in calling for a state of emergency. We see now at the 99th hour, this government has now called for a state of emergency with no proper reason given to the population and the country. So this evening, as we head into Parliament, it will be interesting to hear what this government really has to say and what was the real reason, apart from what the President's statement has in it, where the weekend before the state of emergency, where you had some issues where some gunfire play out in the Bessel Street area. And we really want to know what is the real and the true reason. And if this is just a ruse as we go into an election campaign here.
PNM, as you know, is an institution here at PNM, and we're not an ordinary party. And when faced with extraordinary challenges, we rise to the occasion as we have done. And we have an election to win, we have people to serve, we have a country to save, and that's the business of PNM at this time.
What are your thoughts on your colleague, Senator Dr. Amory Brown, tossing his hat into the ring to represent the Diego Martin West constituency?
Well, I think there may be a lot of contest for that seat, and I'm wishing all who have put their hats in the ring the best. Of course, I am an MP myself and went through the screening and nomination process. So, and Dr. Brown is an old hat of this. He's been around before, so I wish him the best and all other countries the best.
We are going to engage in 3 debates today, actually. The first being the Parliament is being asked to note the Statement of Excellency with respect to the proclamation of the SOE. The second motion will entail the extension of the SOE for a further 3 months. And then the third debate we have is the National Emblems debate, which is the changing of the coat of arms and removing the Columbus ships and replacing it with the national instrument, the steel band. Thoughts with respect to the SOE. I have noted the Statement of Excellency that was forwarded to the Speaker, and really it deals with an incident that took place outside of the Bessel Street police station involving an alleged gang leader and then some reprisal shootings that took place in personal lands. And what really stood out to me when reading the Excellency statement is this. It seems as though the police has the intelligence, they have the evidence, but why is the person not being prosecuted and or charged? With respect to the regulations that were outlined by Excellency also, if you go to the existing law, for example, the Firearms Act, the Bail Act, and the Anti-Gang Act, those powers are in fact within existing law. So for them to come with a state of emergency with these regulations, without a curfew and so on, I mean, there's already existing law to deal with these matters. So really we are going to question the relevance of the state of emergency, especially with these regulations that are in place.
I shouldn't be here. If the doctors only know I'm here,
Well, they will know
buff
just
me
now.
good
They'll
and proper.
find out.
They'll find out.
Um,
I came down with bronchitis in December. It just relapsed again this month. Um, so it has left me with a very persistent cough. So I have to wear a mask now because of Sahara dust and all these things.
Okay, but how are you feeling health-wise?
Right now, I shouldn't be here, but I have to be here.
Okay.
I should be home,
Of course,
but that's life.
I mean, as relates to your constituency,
Yeah.
Dinesh has been
Yeah.
announced by the UNC as their candidate. Are you threatened?
No, it's not matter of being threatened, but I am taking nothing for granted. Like all the previous elections, you go out there and you work very, very hard. It is not a guaranteed thing, and I'm going to go out there and work very, very hard. And
Minister Young is going to succeed Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. What transpired in terms of the reporting on that
so
information?
I think we should put that in the past. It is the past. What we are doing now is moving forward. The issue of my personal support for Minister Young was never in doubt. He just wanted a particular process to be followed. The process was followed. The party is happy. My constituency is happy. And we are moving forward.
And your thoughts on Dr. Amory Brown tossing his hat into the ring? He's a senator looking to get into representational politics now.
That's democracy in the party. Let's see what happens.